Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and today I'm here to do the hashtag my top 5 faves, which is a VR to Simon at the Hermit's Cave. I originally wasn't going to do this tag, although I think it's fabulous, and I've been watching everybody else's videos, and it's been a lot of fun. But I have a video that's coming out here in a few weeks that has a kind of a similar feel to it, so I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this one. But then the more I thought about it, I thought about there really isn't a tag that I've seen, at least as of lately, that really covers the whole spectrum of divination. And that's one of the things that I really liked about this tag. And one of the things that Simon had talked about in his video was that he wanted to focus on, one favorite from each, of the 4 main categories of card divination, and then a wild card for your additional divination techniques. So the tag is your top 5, and it's your top Oracle, Lenormand, playing card, tarot, and then your wild card for whatever type of other divination system you want to include. I just thought it would be a lot of fun to do this, tag, and to really sit down and just kind of think about what are my favorites in each of those categories. So I'm going to flip the camera around so we can take a look at the 5 things that I have selected for my top 5 in each of the main, particularly card divination, but divination category. So the first category is your favorite oracle, and for me, right now, that would really probably have to be the Roots and Wings oracle deck. And I've talked about this deck quite a bit on my channel. You'll see it more in some upcoming videos, but it's just an absolutely gorgeous deck. I love the images in it. I love the simplistic, minimalistic nature of this deck. I love the cardstock. I think this is one of my favorite pictures and one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's just gorgeous, and the messages that I get are really wonderful. There's definitely some cards that tie into the major arcana of the tarot, which I also really enjoy because I tend to pair this a lot with tarot. So it's really interesting when you get, say 2 death cards. That's a really interesting message to get in a reading, and I quite enjoy when that happens. See, or 2 magicians. It's just beautiful. I love the messages. I love the artwork. The cardstock is just, it's a fabulous tactile experience, and it's just a deck that I really enjoy and I do use quite often. So that is the Roots and Wings Oracle deck. The window blew out my candle. Oh no. Okay, my candle's relit because I do have the window open because it's quite stuffy in here this morning. But the wind blew my candle out, so I had to relight it. Okay, the second category is Lenormand. And at this time, I only have 2 Lenormands. This one and the Seeker's Lenormand, which goes along with the Wooden Tarot and the Earthbound Tarot. And I really went back and forth about which one to include in this video. But really, this deck is just the one that really, I think, is just one of the most beautiful decks I own. The packaging is gorgeous. I know everybody's shown it, even though it's just this little tuck box. It's absolutely beautiful. I wish there would be a tarot deck. I would absolutely love a tarot deck. I'm going to come in because these ones are quite small. And I know you guys have probably seen these before, but the artwork is just absolutely stunning. And I really don't read Lenormand yet. I purchased this deck in order to learn to read Lenormand because I was just fascinated by the images. They're so beautiful. And it's a deck that I thought, when I learned to read Lenormand, this is the deck I want to learn on. And that's still very much my intention. I just haven't had the time to do it recently. But anyway, it's just, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love all the associations at the top. They are completely unintrusive, but they're there. And I think it's just an absolutely beautifully produced deck. It has this gorgeous matte, kind of antique gilding on it. The backs are absolutely beautiful. I mean, just a gorgeously produced little deck. So that is the 1889 Lenormand. So the next category is playing cards. Now, I do not have a huge playing card collection. I really have just dabbled with playing card divination, but this is my favorite playing card deck. It's a Dragon Age 2 deck, and for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a complete nerd, and I play video games and I love sci-fi and all that kind of good stuff. And Dragon Age is like my favorite PlayStation game. I have them all, I've played them all. Always looking forward to the next one. And this is just a regular like playing card deck. It's not meant, it's just a cheapie. Like I think it was like $8 on Amazon. And it's, it's just your basic, just a basic playing card deck. But I love the kind of rustic vintage look of the images here. I have thought about trimming it down because it does have this border, and I might at some point, but what I like is that the courts and the jokers all have characters from the video game, and it's just, yeah, it just makes my nerd heart happy. So yeah, if it's a great little deck to have if you're a, total gamer nerd, sci-fi nerd like I am. And it's just one of my favorite little playing card decks to use. There is a tarot deck that was released along with the game, and I have not been able to get my hands on a copy of it. But it's on my list. So yeah, that's just, the Dragon Age playing card deck. So the next category was tarot, and this was a really hard one for me. Like I said, I had just done a video that's coming out in a couple weeks about some of my favorites. So I didn't really want to repeat some of the decks that were in there, because you might be surprised, not to see my beloved Llewellyn here. But what I decided to do instead for the tarot category is to pick the one deck that really kind of meant the most to me. And for me, this would be my Johannes Jaeus. And I don't share this deck often on my channel because it is currently out of print. And I believe that this is the second edition. But I have heard from the creator that there is supposed to be a reprint coming. I believe either next year or the year after. But this is just a deck that I love everything about it. I love the artwork. It has my all-time favorite emperor in it. I love the minimalistic color palette. It's just a deck that is really one of the most treasured in my collection. It took me a long time to get my hands on it. It's totally modern, which is not really usually my thing, but I just absolutely adore the artwork. And this deck just really, really is something special. Again, I don't like to show it too much because you can't get it right now. Or, I mean, if you can find it, it's very hard to get a hold of. People just do not part with this deck. And, I can see why. I've had people, approach me about purchasing mine, and I'm just like, no, I just can't. This deck will probably always be in my collection. It's not a deck that I use often, but it is a deck that actually lives in one of my little altar spaces. So for me, it's just one of the best decks, and I want to see if I can find the Emperor, because he is just, I think I've showed him before. The titles are all in Gaelic, and I do have I made a cheat sheet. He's really cool too. I made a cheat sheet so that I could, learn the titles and learn what was what. I mean, some of them are very, very obvious what they are. And I love that there's no heart. That's another thing that's just fabulous about this deck, is it's not, how awesome is that one? It's just, the interpretations are a little bit more in line with how I read tarot, which was, I think, one of the reasons why this deck works so well for me. we're going to end up seeing every card, because when you're trying to find one card in particular, it's always going to be like the last card, right? There he is. I just absolutely love this Emperor. To me, he's like natural law. He is the stability of the chaos of nature. He brings that chaotic nature of the Empress, that Mother Earth, that, nature's not always, it's not always nurturing. It's not always pleasant. And I feel like he brings that, that chaos into that stable energy, that four energy. And I absolutely love it. I just think it's the most beautiful, the most on point illustration of an emperor that I think I've ever seen in a tarot deck. So yeah, anyway, that was totally side rant there. I seem to have a lot of those in this video, but that is just, I think, one of my most treasured, I guess, tarot decks. So that is the Johannes Jaeus. So the fifth category is your wild card, your other types of divination that you may want to do. Could be cards, crystals, runes. I went back and forth about what I wanted to include because I do have a little bit of everything. But one of the, besides cards, besides tarot and all of that and oracle, besides card divination, the other type of divination that I do quite often is actually, I believe what they call is like bibliomancy, where you take a book and you just open it up to a page and you find your message in that page, in the writings. And to me, that is one of my favorite types of divination, because I have so many books that have such wonderful nuggets of wisdom that to just even open to one page is a great way to, just pick out a couple of different, little nuggets of wisdom that you can carry with you throughout the day. This is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and it's one of my favorites to do that with. I do have a couple other, the Rebecca Campbell books are really great to do that. I'm going to totally cheat here because there's only supposed to be 5, but I'm going to cheat and kind of show you, just for those of you who may not be familiar with how this works. Like, Rebecca Campbell's books work really well for this because a lot of times there's just really short writings and it has a message. So this book is almost geared towards that. I know she does have an oracle deck, and I've gone back and forth about whether or not, I want the oracle deck, and it just never really felt like it had a place for me, but I do use this book in that way. So, if for this particular book, what do you think you lack? Is that true? You can just open it up to a page and just connect with the message. This is another great one, another great book for that, but I know, totally cheating there. My favorite would be the Big Magic book, because for me, it is a book all about, creativity and living a creative life. And that is pretty much my MO and what I try to strive for in my life. So that was just one that I wanted to really talk about. And in terms of, my favorite divination. So yeah, just picking up one of my, a book that I find to be really inspirational, or a book that I feel has really on point messages, just opening it up and just turning to a page and just, reading a little bit and gaining your nuggets from there. So that is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. So thank you for joining me. I really enjoyed kind of taking this quick little look at my top five divination really systems and the cards and books and whatnot that I use for those. It's been really fun to just kind of pause for a minute and really consider what would be my favorites in those areas. Not something that really I haven't done. I mean, I've thought a lot about what are my favorites in tarot, what are my favorites in oracle, but I haven't really thought about, what's my favorite in each type of divination system that I personally use. So this was really fun, and I've really enjoyed watching everybody else's videos. And like I said, I wasn't going to do it, but I think it's just such a great tag and a really great topic that I really just wanted to jump in on the conversation. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and will join me again soon for more creative tarot for an inspired life.